Okay, so this is an explanation of the essay prompt that you'll have. Let's do next week. Okay, it's racial profiling. There's two different options you have. Please do one and not the other. So if you look down here, the big question you're answering is to what degree stop and frisk, the stop and frisk policy, or the affirmative action policy, is it appropriate or necessary in today's world? Choose one or the other, don't do both. Okay, that's going to be important. All this stuff up here is just kind of background information, about it. So you can read through that if you want. Logos is the primary method of persuasion. You need strong supporting evidence, and which means you need to research and find good sources, but you also need to add your own opinion. Okay, that's all part of the logos. Pathos you can use if you use a narrative like either a personal story or a story that you find, but you don't have to. If there's no pathos in your paper, I'm not worried about it. Ethos, just make sure you proofread and check, that kind of thing. If you want to add some background, just a small paragraph on background so it makes it look like you really know your information, that's not a bad way to go. So it's your choice, but I'm mostly concerned about logos. You have good logos, I'm not worried about the other two, as long as you don't have a lot of errors and spelling, grammar errors, that kind of stuff. Make sure you have direct quoting and paraphrasing in your paper. I'm going to go over that in a different PowerPoint. Be sure to include correct in-text citation and works cited. And then due date is that Sunday, and when we go on to break for Thanksgiving. So here are the requirements. You need to write about either one or the other, stop and frisk or affirmative action, not both. Clearly choose one side to argue. You can't be right in the middle. You can be kind of one side except for one thing, or the other side except for one thing, that's fine. But you really need to pick a side, one side or the other. And in this paper is not like the last one. The last one you were completely arguing about the article, whether it was good or bad. This one is not about the article, it's about the issue itself. Use the articles to support your ideas one way or the other. 2.5 page minimum. Use many sources. It's a two source minimum. You need to use one of the two articles you read for class, and then you need to find at least one of your own. If you need to find more, find more. I always go with I use as many sources as I need, not the minimum. You do the minimum, you get the minimum grade, right? So it's your choice. Not that I'm counting, but if I feel like, hey, you really could have used some other sources, then it's going to hurt your grade. Or if this source wasn't the best source you could have used, or something like that. Okay. Reliable sources. That's why I have this Orange County Public Library database, opposing viewpoints. It's really the best place to go. Use an article from there or something from there. You're not going to worry about if your sources are reliable or not. If you just find your own stuff, then you got to make sure. And what I mean by reliable is you know who the author is. You know the author is not super biased one way or the other. It's good reporting. You get good facts. It's from a reputable organization like a newspaper or something to that effect. Okay. And if you're not sure, you can always email or ask or whatever. Must have some quotes. Must have some paraphrasing. You should only have a couple quotes in the whole thing. Maybe a quote per paragraph, maybe two if they're really good. And I have another PowerPoint that talks about when to quote, when to paraphrase. So. MLA format, works cited, proper citations, Canvas. Here's all your resources. MLA format, works cited, how works cited should look, how you create a works cited. This one I'm going to go over when you come to class tomorrow. Citing, quoting, paraphrasing. This is your templates. Just if you want more interesting ways to introduce your quotes, that's the place to do it. This is the place you click on if you want opposing viewpoints to find good research. here's some sample essays. I'm gonna, mark my comments on there. I haven't done it yet, but hopefully by the time you see this, it'll be done. And then at the very least, you'll have what the university, thinks about the papers and how they grade them. So that's this part here. Okay, so we got your outline, intro paragraph, introduce the topic, introduce your main argument, and then what are your body paragraphs going to be about. But do this in a way that flows. You don't want to just, the topic is this, the thesis is this, the body paragraphs are about this. Don't do that. That doesn't flow. You got to introduce the ideas like you're having a discussion. If you want to add another intro paragraph, just background, what is affirmative action, what is stop and frisk, where did it start, what's the history of it, just a little bit of that, small paragraph, you can do that. Make sure when you write your draft for me to look at that I'm not just reading 2 intro paragraphs. So if you're going to do that optional intro paragraph, make sure that it's that you don't do that until after I read your draft. Your draft should be intro paragraph and a body paragraph. I need to see your body paragraphs. Body paragraph option 1, it's really standard. Topic sentence, what's your main argument? Provide evidence, so your quote or your paraphrasing, and then discuss the evidence. Clarify it. What are they trying to say? Put it in your own words. Don't just, completely summarize, say exactly what they say. And then add to that argument, discuss it, talk about it, put your own opinion. So make sure the evidence is clear, and then make sure that you have something to say about it. And then if you need to do it again, do it again. You need more evidence, on the same topic. The biggest problem with the last paper is a lot of students were writing more than one topic per body paragraph. Stick to one focus per body paragraph. That's really important. The next option, I think this is a really good one, but it takes a little more effort because you need 2 quotes minimum, is a counter argument. So you present the other side, give a quote or paraphrasing of the other side, then you argue against it, right? That's the best way to argue something. You find something specific to argue against and then argue against it using your own evidence. So topic sentence, produce evidence, either paraphrase or quote of the other side, explain it, and then argue against it by using your own quote, right? And then finally, if you want to use a narrative, you can. If you have a story either from personal experience or one that you found, it's not a bad way to go. Just don't overuse this. I wouldn't do this in more than one body paragraph. And I wouldn't fill up pages and pages of narrative. It should be relatively short, and then you have to say something about it. Don't just put in the person's narrative and then that's it. I'm done talking or I'm done explaining. So you don't want to do that. Concluding paragraphs. These are just ideas. You look at the big picture. By the time I read your body paragraph or your concluding paragraph, I pretty much know what your grade is. So I wouldn't panic about that too much. But you do need to wrap up the conversation. You're not just going to be like, okay, I'm right in the middle of my analysis. Okay, bye. That you have to wrap it up and let's draw some conclusions or make a prediction or here's what I think is going to happen because of this, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. Okay, so that is explanation of the essay. I hope it was helpful. I'll see you in your conference next week. If I can figure out how to turn this off. Oh, great. Now I don't know how to turn this off. Well, now you're going to watch me look for this stuff for like an hour. Can I do this?